Ben McKee, Eric Kane here from Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Final score, Tennessee's season comes to an end. In Game 3 of Super Regional action, Notre Dame 7, Tennessee 3. Ben, Chase Burns, cruising, a great effort. In comes in the 7th inning, and that's when everything kind of broke loose.
Yeah, Chase Burns was really good. He lasted 6.2 innings, and he was good for 6.1, and I guess technically all 6.2 innings of that. He got the 2 outs there in the 7th, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control for him. And look, I know everybody's mad at Tony for not pulling him earlier than people think. And look, Tony Vitello probably should have pulled Chase Burns earlier than he did, but that's not the reason Tennessee lost today. That is not the reason Tennessee lost at all. You had some very critical defensive mistakes, and yes, Notre Dame did hit the two home runs to win the game, but the one that tied it, the 2-run shot, a lot of talk about Lindsey Nelson Stadium, especially from Notre Dame's standpoint. That was a Lindsey Nelson Stadium home run into the Tennessee bullpen. It wasn't that bad of a pitch, and the catcher, who had 1 home run and 139 at-bats this season, flips it into the Tennessee bullpen. Lindsey Nelson Stadium got Chase Burns there to tie the game, and you probably should have. The right decision was probably to pull Chase Burns at that point, but Tony Vitello after the game, and I agree with him, Chase Burns had just gotten out. Notre Dame's best hitter, Jared Miller, and again, the pitch on the 2-run home run wasn't a bad pitch, and then Brannigan, the third baseman, got him pretty good. That's not the reason Tennessee lost. That's the storyline from today. But Chase Burns really good up until that point, was cruising along, 1 walk on the day. I don't know what the hits allowed were before the 7th inning, but not very many of them. 5 strikeouts. He looked good.
He had 1-2-3 inning in the 6th too. So
yes, he had just got done with a 1-2-3 inning. Definitely should have come back out. Again, maybe you pull him a batter sooner, or here's probably when you should have pulled him, and Tony Vitello admitted this, is Jack Brannigan, who hit the home run to give Notre Dame a 4-3 lead. He had just hit a home run that was barely foul.
Yeah.
And Tony Vitello, at different times this year, has gone to the bullpen mid-at-bat. So maybe that was the chance to do it there. So, again, yes, Tony probably should have pulled Chase Burns earlier than he did as the wind takes over here, but not the reason Tennessee lost is my point, and I'm emphasizing that because based off of the little bit that I've seen here and there, social media and the board is losing its mind over Tony Vitello. Tony Vitello, not the reason Tennessee lost today.
Listen, give Notre Dame credit, came back, won this baseball
game.
Really good
team.
Really good team, absolutely. But Ben, I mean, there's disappointment here, and we can talk ad nauseum as the days progressed. I'm involved in podcasts and more. Just the vibe, not a good one. I understand that, but anything from Tony and the players in post game after this one?
Yeah, just really hurt, and I thought Tony Vitello said a cool thing that the players are more upset with not getting the job done today in this individual game than coming up short and not winning the national championship, not making it to Omaha. Obviously, as you get away from this individual game, that sting will set in, especially as they, I'm sure, watch the College World Series this upcoming week. It'll really start to set in that they should have been there. So it was a great season, a very disappointing end, and I think just trying to collect their thoughts, and it wasn't anything out of the box, nothing that really stood out. Obviously there was a lot of pain, and I thought you could tell that Tony Vitello was trying to keep his emotions in check, and you could tell that he was really hurt. Just not that he and his program didn't make it to Omaha, but hurt for a great group of guys that had a tremendous amount of success this season.
Yeah, at the end of the year, you know, that last game is the last time this collection of players will be together for a game, right? And I mean, you might have a big group coming back one year to the next. I mean, there's going to be some guys that are off from this team that won't come back next year, and that's part of it. But that's where the hurt come from, I do believe. Ben, when you look back on this season, you know, 5-10 years down the line, what's something you'll remember from this edition of Tennessee baseball?
Yeah, that it was one of the best seasons in Tennessee baseball history. A very disappointing end. This is a team that should have gotten to Omaha, but again, like we talked about with the basketball tournament in the NCAA, and like you and I talked about with the baseball tournament, it's hard, man. Tennessee made it to the Elite Eight and faced a team, a program that probably should have been hosting this postseason. So when you look back on this team, I'm sure, especially those outside of Knoxville, they'll immediately point to how they came up short and didn't even make it to Omaha. But there's so much to be proud of if you're a Tennessee fan or one of the players on this team. You win the SEC baseball tournament for pretty much the first time ever, in its current format at least, and #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. That's a result of what you did throughout the regular season, and outside of one weekend up in Lexington, I mean, Tennessee dominated from start to finish, and regular season champs, tourney champs, and it was really a great season. But obviously there's going to be a lot of disappointment because the ultimate goal was to make it to Omaha and win a national championship.
And again, that's fair. That's fair anytime you come up short of your goal, anytime you come up short of the College World Series. But I do think the biggest takeaway, at least from me, and this isn't any breaking news here on this day, but if you didn't know before, Tennessee baseball has arrived. You are contending for berths in the College World Series. Omaha, winning conference titles, hosting regionals, hosting super regionals. So Tennessee baseball certainly has arrived, and now you flip the page on this season, you look ahead to next season, but obviously a lot of good memories.
Yeah, for sure. Tennessee baseball's not going anywhere. Tennessee baseball arrived last year, and there's going to be a lot of guys off of this year's team that are going to be missed. You think of Blake Tidwell, you think of Jordan Beck, Trey Lipscomb, Evan Russell, Luke Lipschius, Drew Gilbert, Ben Joyce. There's a lot of guys that are going to be missed off of this baseball team. There are. But Tennessee's got a lot coming back next year too. A lot of guys coming back next year. Think about it. You've got Chase Dolander, the SEC Pitcher of the Year. He's coming back. Chase Burns, who was dominant in a winner-take-all Game 3.
As a true freshman.
He's coming back. You'll know he'll be better. Drew Beam, SEC Freshman of the Year. He'll be back. And Tennessee obviously hitting up the transfer portal as well. Blake Burt, Christian Moore, Jared Dickey, Seth Stevenson, who knows, maybe Jarrell Ortega and Cortland Lawson end up back as well. I think Camden Sewell could possibly be back. So there's going to be a lot of great players back next season as well, and they'll have just as good of a chance next year to make it to Omaha as they did this year.
Disappointment obviously here, but for the final time at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, we're going to sign off a really good Tennessee baseball season that comes up just short in super regional play. Notre Dame advancing on to Omaha 7-3 over the Volunteers in Game 3 Sunday afternoon. Ben, great coverage this year.
Thank you.
Awesome job for the final time at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. He's Ben McKee. I'm Merritt Kane here from around the horn of VolQuest.com.